All righty. Oh, it's funny. I want to start, but I just keep getting accepting people into the room. So I'm going to give it another 30, 40. Otherwise, I'm going to be so distracted trying to talk with these things popping up. Yeah. All right. Well, slow down. I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to get started. So I want to take you guys over the 28-day challenge. Try and keep it within 45 minutes to an hour, which is difficult because this is going over everything that I could spend 7 days on. So we're going to try and bring it all into an hour, simplify it all, and get you guys started by tonight. So you guys have already seen this. So I'm just going to scan through the website. There was a couple of updates last night. We're kicking off tonight. We're going to go over the challenge, the prizes, how it works, the diet protocol, the movement focus, the mindfulness stuff, some of the self-discovery exercises that I'm going to leave you with. I'm going to leave you with the PowerPoint. So it'll take you longer than we will go. You could spend 30 minutes on the self-discovery PowerPoint we're going to do tonight. So I won't go through that and wait for you guys to finish it, but I'll guide you through it and leave you the PowerPoint on the Facebook pages. And yeah, you've seen that as well. So obviously this is free for members, and for non-members, you can get started just by using one of the trials. And you can do it on demand. I know we've got 1 or 2 people on the call that are not close to either studio. Just wanted to acknowledge all of our brand partners. Well, our first one's just ourselves. We'll be giving away a 6-month free membership, which is valued at $16.50. Rigs in Palm Beach have been our partners for a few events now. So they've got I won't go over the full, I've got their voucher in my laptop bag here. I won't go over the full details of everyone. The Pines Health Food Store also in Palm Beach for you guys in Palm, Down to Earth in Palm as well. Hendrix from Palm. Then we moved to Maroochydore with a Rice Boy voucher. Switch Nutrition is anywhere, but they're based in the sunny coast. And these two are Gold Coast as well. So you can click the links there if you want to look at the supporting businesses. If you're from Maroochydore and you win the prizes, well, you're going to get to come down to the to Gold Coast at some point, which everyone seems to, and have a great weekend, and vice versa. So what we added on the website that you may have missed is the InBody scan. This is optional. This is now sitting at the Maroochydore site and is in at 4 o'clock in the morning for the Palm Beach site. So they say to do the InBody scan before your workout if you can. If you do it after the workout, it just changes the extracellular water activity in the cells, but highly recommend doing it. I did mine this week. It's an awesome exercise. Just shows you your lean mass, where you're meeting the averages, where you're above. It even shows like the protein and then your mineral count, which I thought was really cool. Shows you the proportion of all your measurements, so you don't need to get the tape. But yeah, body fat, all your water levels, all the intracellular, extracellular. What else is in there that was interesting? Body cell mass, mineral content I thought was really interesting. And you just see where you rank, and you get like a nice green, and you get an overall score. So it's not just for weight loss. Like, I'm not really looking to lose weight, although what was I, like 10% body fat, I think. So I'd like to get that down a little bit myself in the next 28 days, which shouldn't be hard considering the amount of chocolate I've been eating. So that'll be an easy one. But let's go through the webinar, or the what do you call it? PowerPoint slideshow. Let's go. So we're trying to achieve in this challenge the 5 elements of health. Why? Because as it says in the bottom corner there, no system in the body works in isolation, therefore should not be treated as such. It is, for me personally, like just super basic examples, not that scientific, is I find it very hard to stick to a diet when I'm not exercising. And vice versa, if I'm exercising, very simple to eat a little bit cleaner, okay? But if my mindset's down, I'm gonna find it hard to control my eating. And if my eating's bad, I'm going to struggle to have a good mindset. So it's a vicious cycle. I would just never train anyone one-on-one in groups, whatever, on a serious level if I wasn't doing all 5. We need to calibrate the movement, get the body moving, nourish it. Spiritual alignment is at the top, probably the most important one, which we're going to go over today, the one that maybe excites me the most. Why? Diet's easy if you can stick to it. If you've got the discipline to it, it's easy. Movement, we've already figured that out. Like this flow state, in my opinion, like I think it can fix anything and make you virtually superhuman, all-round athlete, yogi, whatever. So that's easy as well. What's hard and challenging and exciting is really now, once we get the health right, once we get the state right, once we get your movement right and your power, now the butterfly or the caterpillar can butterfly. You can flower as the true individual that you are deep down, and maybe have never been, because you've never had the all everything calibrated to really step into that. So this is some of my favorite work. We'll only get to skim through it tonight. Obviously, when I do practitioner training retreats, all those different things, or events, we can go a little bit deeper. But let's go over the rules, because that's what everyone has been asking for. You probably screenshot this and use this as your checklist. So you want to work out daily for the next 28 days. This is the tough one for me, because I've just been insanely busy, but got to make the commitment. To be honest, this is as much for me as anyone on this call, which is cool. So what are the rules? You must do 5 flow sessions for the week, whether that be in studio, flow, power hour, on demand, doesn't matter. You can do 2 other workouts, but you need to do it yourself. So if I'm going to go for a run, I'm going to breathe, run, do a meditation, but it has to be 45 minutes. Okay, so 28 days of exercise. You're not going to burn out the nervous system here, because we're going to use the flows. You can do yoga. You can do yin yoga for 45 or for a full hour if you like. So we're pretty flexy on that as far as the rules go. We're going to follow the flow state diet protocol, which I'm going to take you through shortly. Very simple, but we'll go over it. Part of I've just made this as a recommendation to make it easier to think about. I recommend in the morning, work out whenever. If you work out early, come back, and in the morning, do your 5 minutes of silence. Okay. Dead silence, no guided meditation, purely just let the mind rest. We need to stop feeding it and just let it decompress, rest, recharge, rejuvenate. And I won't go into, I could probably do a whole hour on what I think the benefits of no mind are, but connecting you to source, ideas, higher self, we need so desperately some silence every single day. Do 28 days of it, and you are going to feel, if you've never done it before, the first week might be torturous, but it will get better with each session. And by the end of week 3, you'll probably be volunteering to do 10 minutes, okay? Because you'll start to hit that bliss, learn to relax, and let life run through you, empty the cup. We're going to show you in the morning how to do your morning calibration. I call it the flow vortex, sorry. So I've got people coming in. We're going to show you I'm going to show you what I do with these beads. You don't need to use beads, but I've been manifesting in my mornings for probably the last 6 months. And to be honest, like, my life has had so many opportunities and new things come into it. And I think it has immense power. It's something I've been studying for a long time. We're going to help you develop who you are, because that's what's going to determine what's in your flow vortex, and help you step into your, we'll call it a higher self. I hate the cliche word, but we'll call it your flow, your flow state. Then in the evening, you want to do a daily yin stretch. So I would go to your tightest muscle group. This is just great before bed to just stimulate. You could argue that this stimulates your vagal tone. It does something magical, releases emotions, deep, it sends you into a deep trance. If you just do a little yin before bed, you only need to do 5 minutes, one pose. If you're doing 2 legs, it's one each side, so 10 minutes total. So if I'm doing like a flat pigeon, I'll do 5 minutes each side before bed as part of my close of trade, if you like. And then we're going to do a daily Tao passage, which could take you, if you don't spend much time pondering on it, it could take you 1 minute to read a lesson of the Tao, which is the origin of the concept of living in flow. Okay, so we're going to shift the mindset, because when we shift the mindset on how we view the world, we change the state. Okay, the best way to explain that is if you've got 2 people, same thing happens to them, same negative thing happens to them. One person sees everything is on the way and it was a good thing to let that thing pass, which will open up a new opportunity. That person's biology is really strong. The same person plays victim and plays, the world's about to end. Oh my God, how could this happen to me? Their biology, they're at a lot more likelihood of getting sick. Okay, so that's just a basic example. Then what we're going to do, so this is an interesting one. So whenever I'd be training anyone the more successful they are and the busier they are, the more important this is. And this is a weekly flow activity. Okay, so living in flow is about connecting to your true self. One of the best ways of doing that is tapping back into your childlike self, or doing something that you're passionate about, enthusiastic about. So for some of you, you might not have picked up a golf club in 5 years. You may not have painted, sung, danced. I don't know what it is, whatever gets you in your flow, whatever just gets into that joyful, in the moment state, you need to book that one a week. For me, it's an easy one. It's surfing. I live near the beach. I got a nice, easy one for that. I'll probably commit to doing 2, to be honest, and really just get in the flow of life. When we're stuck chasing goals and chasing money and things and busy and stress and to-do lists and running errands, we're out of flow. They're pulling you out of flow. So we need something to bring you back to your home state and get that flowing. And then lastly, the 8th rule is you need to do a weekly journal every Sunday. I could spend half an hour talking about the power of journaling and getting that out on paper, but no real rules with the journal. I think just you could write philosophy if you like. You could write your observation of your week, thoughts, feelings, emotions. I normally just share what I'm feeling in my journal, what I see for the future. Sometimes it's a bit flat. Sometimes it's really up and about. It's not like it's this positive test that you're going to send to me. It's purely just getting what's in here, in the emotions, in the body, flowing out of it, circulating onto paper. So they are the 8 rules. It is not too crazy. It is nothing compared to 75 hard, which you might have seen, which you have to do 2 outdoor hour workouts a day, drink a gallon of water, blah, blah, blah. So all you need to do is check off each day. So I would print this out, put it on your iPhone, put a little cross on it. And obviously when you get to the end of the week and you've done your activities as well, you will cross off journal and flow activity. So that's nice and simple. And basically we're working over that. We're working the 5 elements. You're doing all this through our daily practice. We're working the state, movement, diet, spiritual alignment, diet, the whole 9 yards. We're kind of hitting all 5 angles, lifting you up. So how do you actually execute this? Because if you kind of look at those 8 things, it's kind of a little bit overwhelming. Like it's, on top of everything else, how am I going to do this? Well, that's why I would just do it, categorize it nice and simply, schedule your days and weeks. And on a Sunday, put 30 minutes aside. You've got a journal on a Sunday, schedule your fun activity and schedule your workout and meditation. So tomorrow, I'm up at, I'm running classes at 7 and 9. So I've got to schedule my workout either in the morning, super early at like 5:30, and then I'll come home and schedule my 15 minutes for my calibration and my silence. So that's when I would do it. And then before bed, I'm just going to commit to the habit of doing a little stretch, reading a verse of the Tao, and going to sleep. Not that difficult when we plan. So flow diet, we're going to go through really quickly. I find it quite obvious, to be honest. We all know what diet we should be following. So we're just going to give you a set of rules and regulations to follow, but we know all this stuff. I don't think anyone doesn't know much of this stuff. So first up is we want to raise your vibration through your food. The best way to do that is eat high chi or high prana live foods. Which foods are high and low? I'm going to upload an ebook on the Facebook group page for you guys that want to have a look at it, but it's pretty obvious. Dead food is stuff that's not alive. Processed meats, bread, cereals, bars, anything with sugar, whites, oils, sweeteners, GMOs, chemicals is obviously very low and quite dead. What's high? Fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, legumes, healthy oils, herbs and spices, stuff from nature. Very, very simply put. This will raise the chi level, the overall life force in your body. The ancient Taoists and traditional Chinese medicine practitioners understood we get half of our life force from our breath and the sun and the environment, and we get half from our food and water. Okay, so if you're not breathing properly, not getting outdoors, and your food's low vibration, you would have very, very, very low levels of life force, is what they would say in the East. And you can see it in someone. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in the color of their skin, the quality of their hair over time. You can, and being inspired by what you do will give you a kind of cheat code at this. You can kind of cheat the system for a while if you're inspired by what you do, in my opinion, but we don't want to work against nature, essentially. So really simple. And then what I would class as medium is your fish, lightly cooked organic meats. Yeah, they're not high on chi, very low, but it's not about doing 100% of anything. You can work a little bit of a balance as well. So you don't have to only eat fruit and vegetables. We can still eat a balanced diet with fish. Like, if you eat meat, you do cook it lightly. Versus, in Chinese medicine, they would never cook a well done steak, for example. They would always go medium rare. Okay, that's why they have their fish raw. Okay, it's more live in chi. It hasn't been cooked and killed. Number 2 is we want to remove fire. So in the East, or in Eastern philosophy, they would say that high inflammation, highly acidic foods are all fire. They're causing heat. Inflammation is fire in the body, okay? And every time you do this, what's really interesting about inflammation is it's triggering an immune response in your body. So if you're constantly eating high inflammatory foods, your body's constantly thinking it's fighting either a virus or it's sick or whatnot. So if your body is constantly, day after day, breakfast, lunch, tea, still fighting this inflammation while you're sleeping, how much energy do you think you have if your body thinks it's sick nonstop? Okay. Think with most of us on this call have had COVID. How good did you feel for the following month after COVID when your body's been fighting high levels of inflammation? You felt terrible. Everyone's had long COVID. Now, we could all get on the conspiracy wagon and have an hour chat about that. But the basics are high inflammation. Your body thinks it's sick. It's draining your life force. Your body has to use all its energy, all its immune system to fight inflammation, let alone do everything else. So if you want to free up your body's energy system, get rid of inflammation out of the diet. So these are the strict rules. No sugar. Okay, so that's the challenging one for me. I've been a bit of a sweet tooth of late. No whites, also a challenge for me because I do love a pizza on a Friday night. So I will replace that. Or we could argue you could go a gluten-free base and it's lower inflammation. So if you want to sneak one in, do that. No dairy. I don't have dairy anyway, and I don't really cook in fried food anymore. However, if you really want to go really strict, we're at this household, we've been asking all the restaurants, hey, what do you cook the eggs in? Is it got seed oils? Yep. Hey, is that wrap got seed oil? Yep. So if you want to be disappointed every time you eat out, ask what oil they cook in. And you probably, if you want to go really strict, you're going to eat home a lot because it's sad. It's a bit sad, but most places out are full of hydrogenated or seed oils, which are highly inflammatory in the body. So you can kind of extend, I think go all in on this. Like why dabble? You know, feel the full effects of cleaning it out. It's like, for me, if you're going to go out of your way to make some adjustments, you might as well go 100% instead of 75. Like the efforts, you're already making the big effort, go all out, in my opinion. So I'm a bit of an all or nothing guy, so maybe you don't resonate with that. But also load up on anti-inflammatories. So anti-inflammatory foods, things like ocean salmon, most seafoods, berries, flaxseed oil, mix that in your smoothie. Turmeric, I mix that in my smoothie. Quality oils, a lot of nuts in moderation. Actually, you could argue some nuts with too many omega-6s are not so great. So stick to your healthier nuts, of course, but we won't go into detail of that. The flow diet, we want to also create flow. So one of the big things of flow and Chinese medicine is to keep flowing your qi, your digestive system, your blood. We don't want to create stagnation. Stagnation means low energy. Stagnation is where things go off. We get sick, bacteria, all these different things. So we want to keep life flowing through us, food, enough water, everything flowing through us. This is the natural cycle of life, okay? So again, the easy thing is here, what clogs us? Well, the same things that cause inflammation and a low vibration. But to go a little bit more specific, if without a nutrition lesson, because we don't have time, anything without natural enzymes and fiber in it will have some form of digestive load on the body. Okay, so fruit, vegetables, they've got natural enzymes in them that work with your saliva, which also has natural enzymes mixed with your stomach acids. We break it down easily, absorb the nutrients. If we are constantly eating food without it, so like a lot of heavy cooked meats, processed foods, man-made foods, we're having to overproduce these enzymes. We can't break it down effectively, and effectively this food only partially breaks down in our digestive system. It can go off, we don't absorb the nutrients, we overeat, and we wonder why we're tired, etc. So really basic example. So what's going to cleanse you instead of clog you? Fruit, vegetables, things like ocean fish, eggs aren't perfect. They're not cleansing as such, but they're not gonna cause havoc of a lot of the things on the left. So this is pretty obvious stuff, but when you can see the why behind what you're doing with your food, you're looking at the food as something that's either cleansing you, creating anti-inflammation and charging you with life force. I find it just encourages me to eat cleaner, healthier, because I'm kind of got a little bit of a why behind it versus just, oh, that's junk food, that's good, that's bad. Okay, creating balance on the diet. There's no extreme diet here. I like a good balance of carbs, proteins, and fats. Can you do a ratio of, 40% carbs, 30 of protein and fat if you really want to get technical? Sure, it's thereabouts. I'm not measuring plates. I'm not counting calories like a hamster on a wheel. I want to just enjoy life, eat more in moderation. Look at the plate, not by size of thirds, but calories. Remembering fat has over double the calorie content of protein and carbs. So my plate would have a smaller portion of fats if on size, and an equal, the rest of the portion would be carbs and proteins. So again, pretty straightforward. To be honest, if you follow the rules of this diet and go anti-inflammation and really go strict on it, to be honest, I find you can do any ratio and you'll be pretty healthy and you'll lose weight. However, I don't want to go low on good fats. A lot of omega-3s in it that I really source that from. A whole bunch of endocrine system functions required on it. But yeah, and obviously protein, I don't want to go without protein for obvious reasons as well. If you had to go without any, it is carbs. Your body can survive without carbohydrate. It can just break down the protein and fat. It cannot survive very long, or define long, but cannot survive long-term without protein and fat. So they're your more essential macronutrients if you had to go heavier in any. And lastly, if you're removing a lot of the stuff previously, you'll already be in the right direction, but try and remove chemicals from obviously your water, but eating GMO-free meat, seafood, fruit and vegetables. I won't go into the details of the different inflammation markers on that because every study is kind of different, or every scan of the food or whatever you want to call it is different. But yeah, there's reports in America now. I was listening to a podcast the other day that even some fruit and vegetables will create an inflammation response in the body due to the high levels of GMO and glyphosate, whatever's in the herbicides, pesticides, basically. So that's a little concerning. It's not great news, but you're just in damage control. The body can obviously withhold a certain amount of unfavorables. So that's the simplicity of the diet. I'm going to post like example days on the Facebook group. Hard to do because so many people have 101 different intolerances to either garlic and onion, fruit, fructose, nuts, oils, gluten, God knows what. But it'll just give you a nice idea of a day in the life. So this is the exciting part, and this is going to help create your daily manifestations. The way of you. Okay, what does that mean? So the Tao, which is what is the origin of flow, the Tao Te Ching, which we'll talk about shortly, is this. The Tao means the way. The way of what? Okay, the way of you and the universe. So the way of the universe is photosynthesis is the way of the universe. The seasons is the way of the universe. Us somehow getting born and having the intelligence to grow and sprout and evolve is the Tao. Okay, all the workings of the Tao. That is the way of nature. And then what is the way of you? Well, let's think about it from an animal, or a tree. The way of a tree is to provide oxygen. The way of what's an animal in the kingdom? Think of like the Lion King, the circle of life. What does Mufasa say to Simba? The lion eats the antelope eats the grass, the insects eat the grass, and so on. Okay, so everything plays its role in the circle of life. Where humans have it difficult is we get to choose. Okay, a duck is just a duck. A fly is just a fly. It jumps on and eats the shit. It just does. We, unfortunately or fortunately, have free will. We have a brain that lets us do whatever. And often we don't live the way. And in the Tao, they say if you're living the way of your true nature and self, you will be filled with life force, luck. The universe will just work through you. You'll be full of energy, good health, vitality. When you're working against, you're not living in your true nature, you will find yourself very unlucky. The universe is out to get me. You'll maybe be very low motivation, more prone to getting sick. We can go on, you get the point. So it's super important to live what they would say your true nature, okay? But this is difficult to discover. So we must flow with the way of the Tao and flow with the way of ourselves. Same thing. We are part of the ecosystem of the Tao, so we must flow with what our part of that ecosystem is, if that makes sense. But what is the way of you? You may ask. That is a good question. Let's figure this out to help create your flow vortex. So I want you to think about your true self, which is maybe you've been living outside of it, but your true self is a vortex that is connected to the Tao. The Tao runs through you, guides you, connects you to all things. And if you're not living within that, you're stepping outside that vortex. and now you're outside this universal force and power. And I want you, we'll talk about it shortly. I've got a visual to come. So this is how the vortex works. So that you want to be in the vortex, your flow state, your dharma, living on purpose, living your true nature, living your values, your traits, your goals, your passions, your interests. Okay, that is your flow. This is your flow state. This is the real you, the true nature, what you were born to be in. But what happens? We get pulled out on the side, and I've said we're just pulled out of the vortex. And there's many things. There's triggers, there's environments, there's society, there's habits. We could go over every one. What's pulled you out of your purpose and dharma? Maybe it was school, where your parents put you into. Who knows? What pulled you out of your true nature? You might have been bullied as a kid when you were yourself. Now you're scared to do it. That nervous system cut that side of yourself out. Your values. Maybe you just haven't evaluated them. That's what's pulling you out. So you're just becoming a byproduct, a copy-paste person, which most people I feel can fall into the trap of. Or maybe it's just your ego. We want to be liked on social media because we naturally have a feeling to want to be part of a tribe. So we're doing things for likes on social media instead of to fulfill our soul. That would be a really obvious example. For me, I was living outside my vortex, selling alcohol, restaurants, events. This was not my true nature. I thought the universe was out to torture me for 5 years. I get back in the vortex of health, wellness, everything I'm doing now. And now it seems like life's working harder than me. So that would be my example of how important it is to be living within the vortex. So let's figure out some of what we could spend a whole year figuring this out. We're just going to summarize. This is my favorite exercise of all time. I've done every astrological chart you can imagine. I've done every personality test, numerology, astrology, everything in between, Myers-Briggs, personality U, a million different self-analysis strategies. And this is by far the most simple and by far my favorite. And all we're doing, so you can do this exercise. You won't have time to do it properly right now, just because I want to get through the call, but I do highly recommend this. This is the most important 15 minutes of your life. This has totally changed, redirected the course of my whole life. 2 years ago, sorry, when I went under, lost everything, didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I went back to this and I figured out, who am I? What's my true nature? What are my values? What are my goals? When was I happy? What did I want to do as a kid? All these things that put me back on the path. I found flow and my life's very, very different today. So that's just my example. I can give you a million examples of this. But what we're trying to do is list your 5 most inspiring people. This can be fictional. It can be real. There is no rules. It could be your mum, sister, someone you've met, an entrepreneur. It could be a TV character, movie star, anything or anything. It doesn't matter, because all these people do in why we love stories and movies. Most of mine are from movies. Most of my characters that I resonate with are from movies. And all these movies are doing is showing us reflections of what we love in ourselves. Okay. And that's why you and I, we all connect to different characters in movies. Why? Because we're all very different in our nature, our true nature. So once you've got your 5 people, so you write that on the left column, then you'll write what 3 traits you admire about them the most. So you write that in the next 3 columns. You will now have 15 traits, and you're going to see if there's any double ups, and then you'll just write them in order, which ones resonate with you the most. So for example, with me, this isn't really mine anymore because I've kind of moved on to a different stage in my life, but going through it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. And why? Because he was a visionary, he was a creative, he was a maverick, he was fun, he was hardworking. And I believe I am all those things. There may be moments where I get pulled out of it. That doesn't mean I'm not that, just because I've been in that behavior. So that would be one example. And also mine have a massive polarity. Like I kind of like your all class Roger Federer, and then your complete troublemaker, bad boy, loose, cowboy type character. And that's not right or wrong. It's because that's me. There is parts of me that are, well, maybe not, maybe some people on this call are saying definitely not, but there's parts of me that are graceful and sophisticated and more like, a more class. And then there's side of me that's quite wild and free and a little bit maybe outrageous at times. Okay. And that's okay. So what you're going to do is create those 15, and this is going to help create your morning manifestation. Okay. So you can do that. One of my favorite exercises of discovering who you are, and it's all going to come together over these next few slides. And I wanted to say that quote. Your inspiration, the things you're inspired by, are just in spirit. Inspiration in spirit is in your spirit. For example, someone that's loves, like I don't love, for example, the Dalai Lama. He's not on my most admired people because that's not my personality. That's not my true nature. I'm a bit more energetic, wild, creative, adventurous. At this stage of my life, maybe it will shift. Okay. But someone else's is him because they might be more calm and quiet and gentle and soft and relaxed. And that's their nature for now. Okay. But we do change and evolve. This next one's interesting as well. We're kind of just fishing and pulling different sides of ourselves out of ourselves. And there's 100 questions we could ask for this exercise, but it'll get you on the right path. What are your 5 highest values? So, what are some of the best ways to find out your values? What are the 5 top things you think about? Okay, when I went under, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I went back and I said, what am I still spending money on? So we'll go over them. I'll tell you it through my story. I went back and said, what am I thinking about spending about? Okay, so even though I was not in health and fitness at the time, I was still listening to podcasts. I was still researching and found myself looking up studies on health, exercise, biohacking, and all this stuff, even though I was a long way from doing it. I had an alcohol company. I was drinking most nights. Okay. So, but this exercise pulled me in. What do I read about? What do I talk about? What do I think about? Start writing these down. What do you talk about with friends? What do you think about to yourself? And then you start thinking about your goals and visions. What did you want in life? What did you want to be as a kid? All these different things. And what do you want to achieve in this life? Do you want wealth? Do you want freedom? Do you want adventure? They could be polar opposites, or you can have both. Okay. There's no right or wrong. There's just what things inspire you. Okay. And this will help you build your vortex. You might have another 25, 30 words there, plus your traits. We're going to jam them all together. Okay. So just everything. We're just mixing what's the cocktail where there's like 8 liquors in it? Singapore Sling or something. I don't know. I've been haven't been partying enough. But we're making a cocktail. There's no rules. We're just throwing it all in there. Okay. Your traits, your values, your dreams, what you want to achieve. And we're bringing it all together. What do we got in the chat? Long Island iced tea. Thank you. Singapore Sling, a bit off. Anyway, you guys get the point. So now that we have that, I would screenshot this. I've got a screenshot of this on my computer of mine. I am that. So this is what's going to create your I am that meditation. So what is I am that? I am that is said to be the sound of creator, the sound of God, the words of God. We are all extensions of this creative power of God. We all have that a similar, we'll call it creative energy within. And this is said to be the sound of that creation. We won't go into who and where that has been said. And it's very popular in a lot of Eastern cultures to do your mantras, your I am that mantras with 108 beads, mantra beads. Now, you don't have to do it with 108 if you don't have them. It takes me about 2 minutes. So what am I going over? I'll give you just a few of my examples. I might go from stuff about my true nature. I'm a visionary. I'm a creative. I'm a shapeshifter. I can make things happen. I'm fun. I'm enthusiastic. I'm passionate. And it just comes from the heart. Often you'll just start flowing things that pop up that are true for you. I do this every morning. And I'll even start going over things like, I train the best people in the world. I've got a global business. I change the way the world does wellness. I'm teaching the world the Tao. So all these things I'm already putting into the quantum field of creation. And most importantly, I believe it and I'm owning it. I'm living it. It's not me going, oh, I think I want to travel to America and open a flow. I think I'd like some money. It's no, I'm super wealthy. I provide enormous amounts of money to the marketplace. So it's all just very strong feelings, visualizations, thinking it. I do it to a lot of motivational music. So I'll do it at the moment to like Kanye, hip hop, and almost just to the beat. I that, and just build the self-esteem, build the subconscious. And it's kind of like what you believe comes true. There's that to it. There's manifesting powers. We're playing many different factors, sending it out into the universe from our own thoughts, our own creation, but it also could be things like, I'm a great mother, I'm a great father, I'm a great lover, I'm a great child, I'm a great sister, I'm a great friend, I'm a nurturer, I'm a supporter, I'm a healer, I'm a sage, I'm the wise, people lean on me. It's just everything that you are is what we're bringing together. There's no rules. we're just stacking these things, building our flow, building that momentum of true self in our morning calibration. And for me, this has had tremendous power. The opportunities that are coming into my life the last 3 or 4 months, how much of it do I owe to this? I say there's two forces. Our creative force of the self and the mind, anything you've seen or seen in this world started in someone's mind and become a manifestation. But there's also the Tao, the way of all things, the universe placing the right people, right things, right time. So when you mix those positive two energies together, you're manifesting, creating, but you're also detached and working with the universe. That's what I think the real magic of flow is, living in flow. Put those two together and life can shoot to the stars. So there's a little asterisk though. What are your threats? What's going to get you out of your vortex? Because it's all well and good to say this every morning, but if you say this at 7 a.m., you're triggered by 7:10 and you're still in a shitty mood by 7 p.m., it's probably going to have a limited effect. Okay. So we need to uplift the state throughout the whole day and live this state throughout our days. So just some things to trigger some stuff. What emotions and thoughts rob you of your vortex? For me, it's frustration. It's attachment to outcomes. If I don't hit financial goals, I'm too pissed off and it pulls me out of my flow. So I need to, what I do is when I'm out of it, I'm like, this is not me. I'm not frustrated. I'm being frustrated. And it's pulled me out of my true self. So I'll leave that out, step back into my true self. Who am I? Get the feeling and return to my vortex. What events rob you of your vortex? Do you let someone at work put you in a bad mood all day, rip you out of your confidence, your power? Okay. Everyone's going to be different. What events was it in the marketplace? The weather, circumstances, loss of money? Are we reactive to things in life? What circumstances? You guys get the point. So start figuring out what things pull you out of flow the most and have a real good think about it. I'm very clear on mine. When you have such high unrealistic expectations like myself, you get pulled out of flow all the time because get stuck in attachment, judgment, frustration. So I have to let it go back in. Okay. And it's really just a game of when we get pulled out of the vortex, are we stuck there for an hour, a minute, a month, a year? So we want to compress those timeframes and spend as little time outside the vortex and be quick enough to realize, hey, I'm outside my true self. I got to slip back in. And at the end there, so you can fill it out if you want. You can put all your vortex there and all your triggers there and really just mentally label them. But what we're trying to do is the biggest problem I see is people kind of think, oh, this best self, I'll step into my best self for this short period. But what we need to see is the best self is you. This is home. You need to return home every day in your meditation. So that's why for me, that is the most important part. I teach probably 20 different strategies in meditation, I would say. That is number one. Every single day you calibrate back to your higher self, okay? The happy self, loving self, enthusiastic self with your skills, your unique traits, goals, gifts, interests. That is you. We need to stick into that every single day. And how do we best stay in it? By maintaining the flow state, by maintaining your body, movement, mind, the biology, everything there. You're not going to get pulled out. If you're eating shit, not feeling good about yourself, not working out, not breathing well, your body's going to be in parasympathetic. Your best self doesn't live in fight or flight. Your best self lives in strength, power, but relaxed, confident, calm, trusting. So we need to get there psychologically, physically, spiritually, mentally, energetically. We can keep going. Okay. So that's the real goal of what we're trying to do in our morning calibration. But awareness is key. I've already said that. Think about how you can also avoid being pulled out. Maybe you have to remove some things from your life. If you keep eating junk food, you know, what do alcoholics do? Tip out the alcohol. Same thing. Alcohol is someone's trigger. Get rid of the alcohol. You don't see AA meetings hosted at a bar, you know? So don't step into the dragon's den if you don't have to. If you don't want to get burnt, better just not to go into the dragon's den sometimes. Stay clear. And I've already said that. Once you're pulled in, you just pull yourself back out. And then, yeah, your flow vortex should have created your I am that meditation. And these change all the time. I really change these based on what I'm feeling. And to be honest, I do write down maybe 30, 40 of what I am, but I also just pop out what comes from the heart. It'll pop out. your true, just whatever feels authentic, it will flow out of you. Especially the more you breathe, the more you meditate, the deeper you can connect to this source, we will call it. And yeah, but when we do them, we make sure we own it. This is our true self. This is home. This is certain, like it's already happened. And yeah, so you can go through these 108 times or just do it for 2 minutes. I timed it today. I just pressed the timer and yeah, it was about 2 minutes. And then the daily Tao before bed, either use Google each day, and you can just Google search the verse 1 of the Tao Te Ching. So I did that. I'll quickly show you how simple it is. Where is it? There. So you can see the first line of the Tao Te Ching, which is written by Lao Tzu, which is, you could say, is the book of flow, but they say the book of the Tao. So the first one is, the Tao that can be trodden is not the enduring and unchanging Tao. The name that can be named is not the enduring and unchanging name. That's a very hard riddle to decode. Would you think not? So I recommend reading interpretations of some of the best spiritual teachers of all time. My favorite one is Wayne Dyer, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. Okay, his interpretation, he meditated on every one of those verses for a whole week and come up with his interpretation. Okay, so super simple. Not all of the riddles are that difficult to decode, but it's been one of the best things for my mindset to start working with the natural forces of the universe and work with the way of nature versus against it. Okay, so let me go back to this. Sorry, you can't see all my screen, but I've got tabs and all the stuff everywhere. So let's just go back over it to recap. Now it all sort of makes sense. Do your daily workout. We get the movement, the state, get our body in the right state, feel good, feel our power. I can talk about the workout for a whole hour, but we're channeling Tri through the body. We're opening up all our meridian lines. We're getting movement through the spinal fluid. We're calibrating our breath under pressure. There's many things we're doing in the workout. We're following the flow diet to raise our vibration, keep clean, keep light, and just be charged with life force, no interruptions. Sitting in daily silence with this, you will tap into what I would call or spiritual teachers call the universal mind. When you can learn to create silence and empty the mind, we create space for this universal knowledge to flow through us. And to be honest, when I do 5 minutes of meditation, I almost need a notepad because I get realizations, I get ideas, and it's not mine. I'm not smart enough or wise enough to come up with this stuff myself. There is something beyond that's feeding through this almost like telepathically, and so on. And then I'll go into my daily flow manifestation before I leave the house, get me into my peak state, feeling good, feeling in my power, clear, and I go take that into the day. Okay, that's my morning. Before bed, we stretch out, prep ourselves for proper sleep, read a passage of the Tao, great to read before bed, especially something philosophical and spiritual that's connecting you to the source of all things. And then do your weekly flow activity, do your weekly journal. That is a really powerful repertoire. We are all building together to create your best self. Question here. Someone's downloaded Audible. Perfect. Great. He speaks very well. So what do you do from here? Book in and get your body scan done tomorrow. It's optional, but that's available at the Maroochydore and Palm Beach sites for just $30. Awesome scan. Highly, highly, highly recommend it. Complete your 28 days. Okay, so use that checklist that I showed you before. Cross it off each day. Okay, join the Facebook group for Palm Beach and Flow. I'll upload this recording to them. I don't know how long it'll take. It might be up by tonight for people that missed it, but you guys have all been on it. We'll start to put up different booklets, meditations, more things on that for your 28 days. And then what you're going to do, so this is the one thing I forgot to mention. How do we test this effectiveness of the Flow 28 days? Well, not everyone wants to lose weight, so we're not doing a weight loss challenge. In fact, a lot of people don't want to do that at all. So there's no real rules. You can do your before and after of your scan. You can do photos if you like. You can do photos of your body weight. You can do photos of you doing a Cossack squat before and after, whatever you want to work on. And what you want to do is submit your story and just your, I guess you call it a review of the month, what you notice, what changes, what upgrades. Hopefully you've got an upgrade career-wise and you really tap into this life force. And I'm hoping in this 28 days, some people change the course of their life forever and it all just clicks for them and they just step into that flow. And this is a great, what we'll call it, a jumping pad for them for you guys to expand into a new direction. But we will judge the story just on best story. There's no set rules. Hopefully it's a good blend of weight, movement, diet, how you feel, mindset, career, life, the whole thing, general happiness. It's up to you. It's your story. And between all the trainers, we will vote for a winner, and it's just winner takes all. There ain't no second prize, as Jimmy Barnes or Cultures or one of the two once said. Any questions to finish? I already journal a few times a week. Awesome. Do I need to add Sunday? No, that would count for your 30 minutes. So it doesn't matter if you do Sunday. You can do it on Monday morning if you want. Hey, you can do it at 2:30 in the morning on a Thursday if you like. Any other questions? I got a lot of the questions during the week, and I feel like I answered most of them. But you start right now, tomorrow morning, first session. You can start right now. Coffee. What format is the story? Just written testimonial. Coffee. Can you have coffee? Yes. I wouldn't be having it with a lot of oat milk because it's full of seed oils, unless it's an organic one. But limit your coffee. If you're wanting to calm the nervous system, you don't want to be having 3 coffees in the system. I'm going to try and limit my coffee a little bit to just 1 a day instead of 2 a day. No, you cannot book the scan through the app. Just send us a message on Instagram. How do we get the home workouts? If you're a member, we can give you the free on demand. If you're not a member, you will have to pay for the on demand. So that's easy. Is honey okay in coffee to replace sugar? If it's a really good honey, like a high grade Manuka, yeah. A local Manuka honey is really good for you. Would I be having a really cheap, nasty one from the coffee club? No offense to the coffee club. Probably not, just to be honest. But yeah, don't get too worried about the little technicalities. Is half a teaspoon of coffee, of honey, going to change the course of your weight loss and your mobility? Obviously not. But at the same time, if you're having sugar with your coffee 3 times a day, then yeah, it's going to create a big problem. But yeah, try and find a little bit of a happy medium. Is there a Palmy Facebook group? Yes. You shouldn't be at the coffee club anyway. Good point. You're probably going to struggle to get a balanced meal. Is there a Palmy Facebook group? Yes, we've only just started it tonight. It's links on our Instagram, or you can search Flow State Palm Beach because it should be public. But yeah, look at our Insta story. It is there. Any other questions? I will put
Hi, Dave.
I will put my example diet day on the Facebook groups as well. Did I hear someone's?
Yeah, hi, Dave. I have a question. I can't get the chat up. All these slides you've had, are they going to be emailed to us or in a booklet or something?
I'm just going to upload them on the actual website you guys had access to and on the Facebook group.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
So that'll be the quickest thing I do because I can just upload the PDF. But yeah, the video I don't know how long this video will take to upload to Facebook group. I didn't come up. Try the Insta story. I'll send it again. I'll put a link on the website as well for the Facebook group. So 28 Days of Flow website will stay up for the 30 days or 28 days. So you can just click on it and I'll add those. I'll add this document and the Facebook groups as well. I'll do that tonight actually. So that'll be nice and easy. But yeah, this is powerful stuff. This is everything I've been learning, studying, doing, and had reasonably good results with so far. But I feel like it's just getting started. You've got to stick to this. I think once you do it for 28 days, you'll build a nice habit. And I think a lot of people just do a lot of this stuff ongoing, which I recommend. All right, guys, I feel like I'm about to lose my voice. It's been a big few days. I am going to call it there if there's no questions, but looking forward to seeing some epic results. Ask questions in the Facebook group if you have any, and we will chat very soon. So enjoy your Monday evening. Let's have a great month.